Hey everybody, this is Rybo at the bench, and today I'm going to bring you a very quick review of this little piece of crap Gerber lockback knife. I hope I wasn't too biased in my opening, but I really dislike this knife. This is a Gerber lockback. It is the Grylls branded Gerber. So the BG there and the kind of fake signature on the blade there. Thankfully, this was, I purchased a knife from Walmart and this was actually in the box. I guess that it had fallen out somewhere and someone just shoved it in the box to sell it, with another clearance knife. So I didn't really pay anything for it. I just kind of got it for free. And so I thought I would just do a quick review just to highlight how ridiculously cheap it is and give a warning if you're ever thinking about purchasing something like this. All right, so let's get into it. So price. So I did try to look this knife up. I can only find really one or two sites that ever had it. It's been discontinued now, thank goodness. I believe this was a $14 or $15 knife when it was sold, which is just highway robbery for what you get. And I don't think it's really available anymore, so hopefully in me talking about this you can't find it anywhere. The size of this knife, let's do a quick comparison. So it's a lockback, so let me bring in my Sharp 800 with my broken tip because it's a lockback, and I'll compare quality differences. Let me bring in the Spyderco Delico, which is quite a bit bigger. And then just because it's a Gerber, let me bring in the Gerber Paraframe Mini, which even after I did, a somewhat negative review, is now looking like a tremendous bargain at $10. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick, I guess. So this is some kind of steel. I looked it up. It's not even 8 CR13 MOV. It's like 7 CR13 MOV or something like that. It's really flimsy. The handle is some kind of very cheap plastic. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm basically just squeezing this plastic together until it touches. Compare that with the Spyderco, which is an FRN handle, aka some kind of, it's supposedly fiberglass reinforced nylon. Most people just refer to this as plastic handle. Obviously a higher grade of plastic or man-made materials, but the Spyderco, you can see it flexing a little bit, but it's not really going to go anywhere. This guy, I think I could breathe on it and it would compress. Other than that, the balance of this knife is just, well, it's just awful. I mean, the steel here is pretty much the heaviest thing in the knife because this is just not substantial at all. This is the lightest weight little plastic handle that there is, and this bar here I cannot imagine is very deep, just because you can't really feel any of this. I mean, if I put this in my hand and just kind of balance it, it just falls right out. When you compare that obviously to a wood and brass, but even to the Spyderco, it's just a nice balance. I mean, you feel weight back here with the lockback, but also with the handle. This guy just feels very unbalanced. Quality-wise, you can see obviously that the blade doesn't even meet. If I can get that in focus, the blade just doesn't even meet the right place there. There's a big old gap. You can see that the kind of lockback portion is not even flush with the plastic scales, which is not super surprising. And then you can see that this knife has two screws, or whatever you want to call them, two pins. It has the pivot, and then it has this one right here on the lockback portion that acts as a pivot to the lockback. And both are just in there with no way to take them out. So not that you would really ever want to perform maintenance on this knife, because hopefully you don't own this knife. But if you did, you're kind of out of luck there. You can also see right there when I have the lock here compressed that you can see that it's not even it doesn't even fit the scales well, in the sense that there's some light coming through here. Even when I completely close this knife, you could still see the light from my hand down there, which is just terrible. Let's see. There's not much more to say here. They've kind of tried to add some, nice ergonomics there, whatever. Sure, I guess that's comfortable. This piece is just hurts in your hand. And yeah, I mean, it's just a cheap blade. It's interesting. My blade even came with a nick already in it. And this was a new blade. So if it already has a nick in it, boy, am I in store with it, with this knife. But look, you got some jimping up here, which is great, because with this knife, you really just need to bear down on the heavier side even more than you normally would. I do anticipate if I were to put too much pressure here, and I think it could just be me, but it looks like I'm seeing that. Yeah, I am seeing that a little bit. That this knife is not even locking up correctly. So I can sit here and move this back and forth, and there is some play, which is really disappointing. So this knife, not really a safe knife. Not really a safe knife for many uses. I would say especially not for survival uses like Mr. Grylls is kind of well versed in. Overall, knives like this make me really angry because someone might pick it up because it's branded with someone's name on it, and then it just gives you a really bad taste of what a pocket knife can be. It's so cheap that this thing is just going to tear up soon. It might actually cut you if you're bearing down too hard on here and the lock breaks. It's just, spend the same amount or less and get something like this, which is not my favorite knife in the world, but it's a decent frame lock. It's, it's a, better steel, I think, and just a much better knife. Heck, pay the same price, and I would even rather you have the Cricket Squid, even though I'm not a huge fan of this knife either. Both are, far superior to Mr. Grylls' branded knife here. So hope that has been helpful. If it is not clear for cut or carry, this would be a hands down cut. Do not ever pick up this knife because it probably will cut you. All right, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.